morning, wherever you are. Hello, everyone. My name is Regine Elena, and welcome to the Pageant Sit Down. I am super excited that you are all here joining us, and I'm super excited to welcome back my co host, Elizabeth. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Regine. How are you?
I am good. I'm sure viewers are like, where have these two been? It's been more than 2 weeks. We've been busy.
We keep leaving them in the dust, but we've just been so busy.
We have, and it's because Canada Galaxy was just the other week, and with pageants, you get the pageant hangover, you're exhausted, and that is why we pushed it to this week. But we're super excited because we were actually able to get one of the newly crowned queens with us today, right, Liz?
We did, and I'm so excited to introduce her. Not only is she a good pageant friend of mine, my old pageant baby sis, but she's no longer a baby. So let's introduce her. Her name is Katrina Salazar, and she is your brand new Miss Teen Galaxy Canada 2024. Welcome, Katrina.
Hi, everyone. How are you guys?
We're
good. How are you?
Good. Before we start, I do want to, off the bat, say hello to some of our viewers who are tuning in. Hello to Alexis, former Miss Teen Galaxy Canada 2023. And she says hello. And we have Miss Teen Galaxy Nichols Center in the chat saying hello as well.
Hi.
Hi, Michaela. Hi, Alexis. Katrina, Liz and I obviously have known you since 2019, and I know some of our viewers may remember you as Junior Miss Galaxy 2019. But for those who don't know who you are, can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Well, first, hi everyone. My name is Katrina Salazar. I am currently 17 years old, and I began my pageant, what do you call this? The whole pageant, the start of my pageant life began in 2016 when I first competed at a local pageant that is held here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and it is under the Manitoba Filipino Street Festival, and it is called the Queen Bulilit. And so, Regine, you know what that means. But it's basically a local pageant that is held among the Filipino community here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And so I first began competing in pageants there, and I was crowned as the second Bulilit Princess, or in English, the second runner-up. And so I didn't exactly get the actual crown, but I still got a title for, it's my first time doing pageants, and I can't say that we weren't really prepared. We were prepared, but obviously there are other girls who, go above and beyond. And also around that time, we were still fairly new here in Canada, and so we barely had any connections. But aside from pageantry, I am 17 years old, and I am currently in my senior year of high school. And something that I'm very passionate about, aside from pageantry, is psychology and neuroscience. It's these two fields I gained an interest in these in grade 10, so 2 years ago, and ever since then I haven't dropped it. It's always been there, and it's still something that I'm very passionate about. Like, if I come across a random article that kind of talks about mental illnesses and kind of how our brain processes that, best believe I will be clicking on that and watching and reading through the whole article.
Awesome.
I love that. I guess obviously there's the lingering elephant in the room that me and you were on Team Canada in 2019, along with Alexis, if she's still in the chat. And I know you're a teen now, so it's new, and it's been a long time since you were on that team. What made you want to return? And were you nervous as coming back as a returner?
Good question. So when I first competed in 2019, I had a lot of fun. And the reason why I competed in the first place in 2019 was to fulfill a childhood dream. But I returned as a Miss Teen in the Miss Teen division, so a brand new division. I got a little older. ever since I competed, I've gone through a lot of life experiences. It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years since I last competed, and within those 4 years, I've gone through many ups and downs. I've experienced many highs and lows, and so I returned wanting to kind of tell myself that even if I am imperfect, even if I have like these backgrounds that kind of like define who I am, I'm still a person and I'm still worthy of competing in the pageant, and kind of like it's a way to prove myself that I can still do it, and and to boost my like confidence a little bit. And also I returned to the Canada Galaxy system because it's a pageant system that I've called home for many years now. And the last time I competed, I had so much fun, and I know that if I were to join again, then I would have the same experience but better, because well, they celebrated their 5th year anniversary yesterday. And so being back, like, since I didn't compete for a few years, being back, it kind of just hit me, because when we went to orientation, I was put in that pageant zone, something that I haven't been in for a long time. And so when I went to orientation, obviously I was very nervous. That is a natural feeling, but also I was very thrilled and so blessed to just be there, because first of all, it's brand new competitors. There are new delegates that have competed in the pageant system, but also I am returning. But I'm a returning candidate, but I'm competing in a different division, and so with that, it comes with brand new experiences, brand new like opportunities, and new people to meet and kind of exchange conversations with. And so yeah, my time at the Canada Galaxy Pageants as a Miss Teen now, it's been incredible. I am so blessed, and I am so very fortunate to have taken part in that pageant again.
Awesome. So, like, yeah, so Liz said you were Junior Miss Galaxy. First off, I apologize. I think when you were crowned, I was like, you're the former Miss Preteen. And I was like, that does not make any sense.
Boo!
I'm sorry, Kate.
Okay, I forgive you, Regina.
I'm so sorry. So you were Junior Miss. Wow, I did it again. Junior Miss Galaxy Canada. And then if you think about it, Alexis, who's also in the call, was also Junior Miss Galaxy Canada North America once upon a time, and then came back and was teen. What's going on with these junior misses and coming? Does that mean Nicole's coming back? Like, what's going on?
Hopefully. I mean, Nicole is a very talented girl. She's got this. Like, I'm not much, like, I don't contact her as much, but I know her well enough to know that she's got this bag. But honestly, I can't really explain that to you, because when I saw Alexis competing again for like the millionth time, I was like,
way to call her out.
Well, I'm very proud of her. And so she kind of inspired me to come back and compete again, because I've seen like her growth in this pageant system, from her as a preteen to now a teen. I've seen her grow and expand and just like turn into this young woman. And so I was inspired by that, and so I was like, what if I follow her footsteps? After all, like I haven't seen any of the like girls from 2019 in like many years, because I live all the way in Winnipeg, and most of them live in Toronto. And so it was a way to kind of reunite with them, but also, you know, again, like new experiences. I wanted to go through that again, and I wanted to kind of re-experience what it's like being in a pageant, because I haven't been in one for a very long time.
You just missed this stage. Okay, so question for you. So, I mean, if you look at it, Liz and myself can easily go back to Canada Galaxy in different divisions. If we were to, or any former queen, of not just Galaxy, but any other pageant system that may have aged up or marital statuses have changed, what advice would you give them? Because like I know everyone asks, when are you gonna come back? When are you gonna come back? I'm like, I don't know if I have it in me. Like, what would you tell us to convince us to come back?
Well, first of all, Canada Galaxy Pageants, it's a very positive pageant system. I'll just tell you that. When I competed again, I was so overwhelmed with joy because not only was I a returning queen, and so like a lot of people came up to me and kind of, we had a heart to heart, but also like it's so overwhelming being there because there is that sisterhood that kind of like uplifts you every single time. If you need help with like a zipper or buttoning up your gown at the back, someone's always gonna be there, or like just to, you know, people are gonna be complimenting you, and so it's a very positive environment to be in, and I absolutely have like, I'm so exhilarated to have been back, and like again, there's new delegates, but also there's some returning ones, and so there's always gonna be new experiences and new opportunities planned out for you. And so yeah, for me, my main kind of point is that Canada Galaxy Pageants, it's a very uplifting and positive environment to be in. And like the relationships that you form there, those relationships are gonna be strong no matter like how many years pass by. It's always going to be there. There's always going to be that form of girls supporting girls, and I think that's just what I love about that. But also this system, this pageant system, it promotes and celebrates the diversity of women who walks different aspects of life, and that's what I love especially about it. Just seeing other women of like color, of backgrounds, height, size, weight, it doesn't matter because that's not what you're being judged for. And I think it's very important for pageant systems to kind of adopt that and foster that, and to establish that, because it's what really it's what defines you as like a pageant system. And so yeah,
sure. Kind of speaking of the sisterhoods that you've made through this experience, let's talk a little bit about your past Galaxy life. Let's talk about your present Galaxy life. This is a question actually from Miss Teen Galaxy Nickel Center, who you got to hang out with at Nationals. And her question to you is, how was your experience at Galaxy?
So like in the past, or
let's do this Nationals. Like, what was some of your favorite experiences from this past Nationals?
Good question, because it's very difficult to kind of pinpoint a point.
Sure.
But for me, I think I've already kind of talked about this, but again, like that kind of bond that we form during pageant week. So there were only 3 teens who competed this year, but we were like this, so we were tight. And so yeah, like if I remember before we got on the stage for coronation, we like all the delegates were kind of like backstage and we were all lined up, and I was kind of like zoning out. And because there were a lot of things that were going on like in my head, and I couldn't really prevent that. And so as a result, I was kind of just like leaning against the wall because my feet were hurting. And I was like staring at the floor, and I was just kind of like blanking out. And Michaela, Miss Teen Nickel Center, she was an absolute gem. She kind of like talked me out of that. And so that's just one example of the kind of bonds that you form in like this pageant system.
For sure.
And so yeah, like this one thing, the main thing that I'm gonna be highlighting is definitely the sisterhood, girls supporting girls. I stand by that. I love it when other girls are like, oh my gosh, girl, your hair is messy right now, let me fix it for you.
Yeah.
And so I love having that kind of support system, because it's just very uplifting and it motivates you to keep going. You know, it doesn't feel like a competition, even though it is. It feels like a family, just having one another's back. And I think that's what that's what makes it special.
Awesome. And speaking of family,
No,
sorry,
you're good.
Liz, your parents are in the chats.
Hi.
They are saying, "Hi everyone, proud pageant dad and mom watching from
I love
home."
them.
Hi.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was so nice to see them again.
And they're so involved, which is so fantastic. They are always like the most helpful people ever. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you'll have them again at internationals.
They've always been there for me in every kind of interest that I have, especially with pageantry. Even though my dad like hardly knows anything about pageants or like about hair and makeup or gowns or the different attires, he's always been involved in some ways. And the main kind of like involvement that he's been is like in my appearances. He's always the one organizing my appearances. And like whenever he secures an appearance, he's like, "You got an appearance at this date at this time." And I'm like, "Okay, got you, Papa." And so yeah, he's such a rock. He's my rock. And also like I think it was the night before orientation, he was kind of like organizing all my appearances, like the list of them, because that's what we had to do. And so he was creating like the kind of like the bio for it, explaining what the appearance is, what I did, that kind of stuff. And he was like organizing all the photos and such. And he stayed up late, and I was already in bed sleeping. And so I just appreciate him for that. And my mom, I can't even begin to explain what my mom goes through. She goes through a lot of stress, and that's because of me.
It's your fault.
And so she's always the one managing me, like in terms of attires, clothing, hair, makeup, and she's always been there to make sure that I look my best and I perform my best. And so an example of that is like before the competition, we were practicing and we were doing dress rehearsals at home, and my house is pretty small and tight, and so we tried making the best out of it. But every time I did something wrong, just like one little wrong move, start again. And I'm pretty sure, Liz, you've experienced that.
Oh, I love it.
And I know others have too. And so I call her a perfectionist, and that's a trait that I've adopted from her. But I just love that about her, how strict she is, because I know that, this is gonna benefit me in the future. I know that she just wants the best for me. She's not setting me up for failure. And so like I know these trainings they're very vigorous, but also I benefit from it. And like after every training or every practice, we always result into like yelling at each other, because I'll be like, "Mom, I'm tired," and she's like, "No, do it again."
Question for you: has your mom ever done pageants before?
No, but like it was also a dream of hers ever since she was younger, and so she kind of like passed that on to me.
So there's a Mrs. Galaxy. Tita, you can sign up too. I'll call you out now. No, just like I think it's so amazing that your family is so invested and so involved. And can we give a shout out to your brother? For driving back to the hotel for you?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He spent so much money on Uber because, as I mentioned, we don't live in Toronto, and so we don't have the car, and we didn't rent a car because it would be expensive because there were 6 of us coming, because my foster sister was also with us and also my boyfriend. And so there was a lot of money being put into transportation, and so he was just the one covering the Ubers. And before like we got on the stage on like the actual coronation night, because I wear contact lenses because I have bad eyesight, but I blinked and my contact lenses fell off, and I didn't have my backups with me. And so what happened is my brother and my boyfriend, they got on an Uber, and they drove all the way back to our hotel, which is, I don't know how long,
like almost 40 minutes.
Yeah. So they drove all the way back to our hotel just to get my contact lenses, because I couldn't see a thing, and it would be worse on stage because everything is so dark and like all the lights are on you. And so going blind and just walking on the stage with no contacts was not an option for me. I couldn't bring myself to do it. And so, yeah, they drove all the way back to the hotel just to pick up my contacts and drove back to the, what's it called? Where the actual event was happening. And so, like, he's been covering all the Ubers, transportation and stuff. And I truly admire him for that. I feel bad for his wallet.
Yeah.
He offered, okay?
Yeah.
Good for him. He's always saving the day somehow, last minute. Like, even at Galaxy International, I remember one of us forgot our sashes in our room. And Casey was like, Katrina was like, go grab the sashes, please. And he ran, and he came back in like 2 minutes later. I was like, how are you that fast?
I know. And so I'm so fortunate to have my family supporting me in all my endeavors, and I truly cannot thank them enough for that. I appreciate them, even though like I don't show it to them as much. I truly do. I appreciate them for all their efforts and all the things that they sacrifice for me.
Well, you just told the whole internet that you appreciate them, so I think that's good enough.
I love you guys.
Can we just like take it back a second? You have a boyfriend? I swear you were just junior miss. What happened?
I'm not sure if he's watching right now. He told me he was going to, but I'm not sure if he's on. Isaiah Ducat in the chat.
But yeah, boyfriend, if you're here, put a comment down below. Like this video.
And so yeah, like I can't thank him enough. His family spent $600 just so he can come with us to support me in Toronto. And again, like I feel bad for their pockets.
He's here.
Hi.
Yay.
And yeah, like I am truly blessed and fortunate to have these people surrounding me in my life. And so yeah, his family spent a lot of money, and also like his family, which were here in Winnipeg, they were watching the live stream and just kind of like cheering me on. And when I got crowned, he immediately got a text from his mom saying, congratulations, tell Katrina I said congratulations. And so yeah, I truly appreciate them for having my back and for being my backbone as I competed for the second time in Canada Galaxy. And so yeah, he's been so amazing throughout the whole week. Every night we would like debrief. So there was this one night specifically where we went to the courtyard of the hotel and we kind of just like
romantic.
But yeah, we kind of just like debriefed about my whole day and like how I felt overall, because I think it was the night before the big night. And so it was like 12 in the morning, but we were just outside like in the courtyard because
how did we not see this boyfriend of hers?
I completely missed this part.
Right?
Regine, you did.
I did?
Yeah, during before I went for my interview, he was the one like feeding me the water.
Okay, like you really think I'm gonna pay attention to who that person was?
Regine.
Anyways,
yeah,
I was.
You're at midnight. What the heck was that?
What's up, Black? Look, I'm just keep it PG, Casey.
But yeah, he's just been very supportive. He's always been there whenever like I needed to talk or kind of like de-stress. And like one of the ways that we do that is by debriefing and just like talking to one another. And that really helped me a lot as I competed because I was very stressed. Because not only was I competing for a national title, I was also like stressing about school and stuff. And so just having him there, it really boosted my confidence, and it allowed me to view things a lot more clearly, and it definitely like kind of cleared my mind a bit.
Love that. So Isaiah, you better start saving up some money for internationals because
I know
need you there.
I know. I was talking to him about it. I was like, so you better get a job because if you're coming to Orlando with us.
You tell him it ain't cheap. Welcome to being a pageant boyfriend. It's not cheap. It's not easy. You got to make sure you get all the shots.
Yes.
You got to make sure that you got the flowers. You got to it's not a cheap job to be a pageant partner.
Very true.
And also like throughout the whole week, I was just I kept giving him my phone and I was like, make sure to take photos, video.
Your mom had it under control. It was okay.
And so he would just be like, "Yes, boss," or "Yes, ma'am."
Sir, good answer.
And so
I
that's
love
so glad that he was there with me. And I'm so very thankful to his family, especially for spending that much money just so he can fly to Toronto with us.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's love. He says it'll happen. There you go. He'll get a job,
Making it work.
and end up in Florida with you. Speaking of Florida, so you are going to Galaxy Internationals again. How exciting! What are your plans? Because like you've already been there, right? You kind of have the benefit of knowing what to expect and seeing what Elizabeth, who was a teen, has gone through and what the seniors have gone through. What are your plans and in preparation for internationals?
So internationals doesn't take place it's happening more than a year from now, and so I kind of have a lot of time to prepare for it. Or sorry, no, not more than a year. It's kind of like
Less than a
This
year.
summer.
a little less than a year. Sorry,
Yeah, it's all good.
but I still have
More than 5 months. More than 5 months.
enough time, I hope. And so, like, what I've been doing currently or like recently was just attending appearances. And also, the moment I won, my mom started, because we get my attires from like those resellers in the Philippines. And so she would watch these like live videos on Facebook.
I watch the same people.
And so like she was already like looking through videos and gowns, and she was kind of she like the moment I won, when I saw her, she was like, "I know what you're gonna wear for fashion wear."
Love that.
And so like yesterday, she was also like talking to me about the gown that I'm gonna be wearing for internationals, and she was like, "So there's this gown, but I also kind of want you to wear this gown." And so she's already like a few steps ahead of me, already planning my attires for international, because it's a big event. And like since it's an international pageant, I'm gonna be competing with girls with other teens from across the world, and so I gotta be prepared. And like, yes, I'm very excited to meet them, but I'm also very nervous because it's nerve-wracking,
For sure.
competing in an international pageant and kind of representing your country as a whole. Because when I competed for nationals, I just represented Winnipeg, which is a small city, but now I am carrying Canada as a whole on my back, and the last thing that I want to do is to disappoint them. And so my mom's already like a few steps ahead, planning out all my attires, my gowns, my fashion wear. She even started planning out like the white party, the infamous white party in the Galaxy Internationals. But yeah, and so like one thing that I actually really want to focus on is just practice, continuing to practice my walk. Looking at, since I'm self-taught, my mom is the only one who trains me, and my ninong, who lives all the way in the Philippines, so it's a lot of Facebook Messenger calls. So one thing that I really want to focus on to prepare for internationals is to do what I did before, which is like look through YouTube videos of former title holders and like people who I've idolized like ever since I started my pageant journey, which is Katrina Gray, Pia Wurtzbach, all the Miss Universes, and kind of learning from them, because I don't have like a coach. I have my mom, who's already enough.
She's a coach.
And also like, I'm self-taught, and it's always been my mom, my uncle, and I just kind of preparing myself for that. And so I just really want to focus on bettering myself, bettering my walk, because again, I was a former junior miss, but now as a Miss Teen, the standards have gone up. And so I want to be able to meet that standard and possibly exceed. And I don't want to disappoint anyone. And so I really
You won't.
I really want to do my best and learn from the best, and I plan on listening to my mom a lot more.
Well, I was gonna say, if you need a coach, I'm right here.
You're just gonna do it.
We'll talk after. We'll talk after.
Mhm.
But we do have a segment. I just looked at the time, and we are past the halfway point already. It happens. Don't worry. But
Mhm.
there is a segment on our show, which is 5 tips from a beauty queen. And you have watched many videos of many different beauty queens.
Yes.
You yourself are a beauty queen. So, what would your 5 tips be for anyone watching today?
That is a difficult question because I'm still very young and I'm still learning as I navigate through like the whole pageant world. But 5 things that have like stuck to me mainly is, first of all, learn. Never be afraid to expand your knowledge and enhance the things that you already know. And so learn, because there's only one girl that is going to take home the title, the crown, and there's only going to be one girl fortunate enough to do that. And so whether you win or lose, at least you have that knowledge that you've gained, those experiences. So you're going back home with that, even if you didn't take home the crown. So learn. Always be open to expanding your knowledge and enriching your mind, because again, like even if you don't take the crown home, there's still that knowledge that you've gained throughout your whole experience with that pageant system. Another thing is fear is natural. Don't allow that to discourage you or to hinder you from doing your best. Because when I competed again, I constantly had these thoughts circling in my head, and the most prominent was being a returning queen. There was kind of that pressure put on me, like subconsciously, that like, oh, I already won before, and if I didn't win again, that would be really embarrassing. And so I just kept thinking that, and so yeah, there was those like recurring thoughts that I couldn't get rid of no matter what I did, because again, like as a former queen, people have subconsciously or like unconsciously put that standard on you and put that expectation on you. And so being a perfectionist, I didn't want to like kind of disappoint them, and I didn't want to be that type of girl that, you know, won't exceed their expectations. And I've always expected like the best for me. The standards that I put on myself, they've always been very high, and even like unattainable at times. But yeah, like that didn't, even though it was close, I didn't allow that to prevent me from performing my best. And another thing is like never think you are alone, because we are all imperfect people. Every single girl and woman and like every single delegate, they all go through their own set of flaws, insecurities. They all have these negative thoughts kind of circling their head. And so if you ever think that you are alone, like facing those like negative comments like on yourself, or like kind of going through those negative thoughts, please, you're really not alone. You never know what another delegate is thinking. You could be looking at one girl and you might think that you just like might adore her so much that you think so badly of yourself, but that same girl might look at you and think the same thing. So it's very hard to judge people's thoughts, and so please, you are never alone. Um, Other girls can be going through the same thing as you, and I think it's very important to acknowledge that, because again, we're all imperfect people, and we experience things that we're not the most fond of. And so the fourth one, I believe, don't lose sight of yourself and never lose your purpose. I know that it's very easy to kind of be blinded by the pursuit of a national title or an international title. And so I think that because of that, people tend to lose sight of themselves. and they lose or they break friendships. They break the bonds that they have with other people because they're just so caught up in trying to win, trying to get that crown. Um, yes, everyone is there to get the crown, but what else? Are you there to fulfill a childhood dream? Are you there to advocate for a specific issue or a specific thing? Um, don't be too caught up trying to win a crown, because at the end of the day, I know we all have our own purposes as to why we joined. And for me personally, it was to uplift myself and to kind of show people that even though I'm a very flawed person, I have my own set of insecurities and flaws, I am still able, I don't allow that to define who I am. And I'm still able to walk on that stage and to do my very best. And lastly, I think this is the fifth one. Um, Never allow society or those negative thoughts to like dictate you on what to do. Because I know when you're competing, it's a very stressful time and it's very easy to listen to those negative thoughts. But please, I beg you, that's not gonna do you any good. I almost like kind of gave up on everything as I was competing because again there was like those thoughts that I couldn't really prevent. But honestly, if I allowed myself to be too caught up on that and if I allowed it to get the better of me, I probably wouldn't have won this title. Um, it's again like it's stressful. It's a stressful time and it's a very difficult situation to be in, especially if you're someone who barely has any pageant experience like myself, because this is like the only big pageant system that I've only been a part of. But yeah, like I was looking at the other girls that I was competing with and I was like, oh my gosh, she looks so good right now, or gosh, that dress looks amazing on her, or like the way she poses and the way she kind of presents herself. I could never compete with that. And so those thoughts were kind of like circling my head. But then again, I was losing sight of what I'm capable of. I know who I am, I know what I can do and cannot do. And I want to make sure that I acknowledge that and I don't allow those terrible comments or terrible thoughts to kind of define who I am.
And those are 5 amazing tips.
I love it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I was getting a memory lane of all the things that you used to do, and watching you this past weekend or whenever it was. Honestly, my mind's so foggy. I was just so proud of you. You did such a good job, and it was just crazy to see how much growth you had. And I know, knowing you, that you didn't walk into that competition thinking that you're going to take it home no matter what. I know you were very intentional with how you prepared, and you didn't feel like you had it in the bag and that you really worked hard for it. So I'm super proud of you. I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned a little bit in there about advocacy and appearances and all that. I remember you as the appearance queen. You absolutely annihilated us in all of our amount of appearances. It was kind of embarrassing. But this time around, what kind of things would you like to do as an appearance, like a dream appearance or an organization that you want to work with or a message that you want to spread with your brand new teen title?
And so this kind of goes back a few years ago, when I was an intern at this nonprofit organization. It's called Oak Table. And so what they do is they kind of provide a support system for those in need. So like people suffering with homelessness, or like food insecurity, they would come to that organization, and that organization would provide like hot meals for everyone, clean clothes that have been donated by donors, and also like if they need, there's a shower over there. And so they've always been there to support those who are in need, even if you're not like homeless or anything. If you just need like words of advice or something to uplift you, they've always been there for you. And so I kind of got my passion for psychology through that organization, because I saw how homelessness really how homelessness can really affect a person. And something that I've noticed is mental illnesses and homelessness, they go hand in hand. The person can a person can, like, they can develop a mental illness through homelessness, or a person can become homeless because of a certain mental illness. And so they're interconnected. And for one of my projects in 10th grade, I like revolved my project around that, kind of learning about homelessness, and how like mental like health is very important, and it's a huge factor and contributor to homelessness, food insecurity, and things like that. And so I definitely, as an appearance, I definitely want to go back or do an appearance at an organization similar to it, like Silo Mission, because I know what they stand for is good, and I truly believe that they are helping those in need, and they're not just there for the fame or for people to recognize them. But I know that their intentions are good, and that what they're trying to do is just to better the lives of many people. And I truly support and admire what they stand for.
Awesome.
So I'm looking at the time, making sure that we're still good.
I talk a lot.
I love it.
No, girl, we all do. Don't
Good.
worry. Call this, sit down, you talk to us. It's fine. Don't worry. Katrina, you mentioned the support from your mom and support from your boyfriend. I kind of want to bring it back to your boyfriend just really quickly. No, because I know that there are a lot of teens specifically, or even the Miss Division, even the Ms. Division, where a significant other doesn't quite understand the pageant world, because we are a different type of breed, as I like to say. So what was it like for, I guess, Isaiah? Yes. What was it like for him? Did you have to like coach him and train him on what to expect? I'm curious.
It's a funny question.
Honestly, I think he was a natural. He's like, again, he's always been there for me in everything that I do, and I've always been there for him as a return, because he was a former football player, and so I would always go to his games and such, even though I didn't know anything about football.
He just repaying the favor.
Yeah, and so that's kind of how it went for me when I competed at Canada Galaxy pageants. Like, I know that he was probably very confused on a lot of things, but he sucked it up, and he was there at all times, and I'm super, super grateful for that. And I know there was probably a lot of questions going in his head. We didn't really have, we haven't talked about that actually. Like,
so wait, so you debriefed, but you didn't debrief with him. You debriefed with
I would ask him about it, and like, the main thing that would come out of his mouth was like, how it's like spending time with my family, and like being that close with my family, because that was the first
you kind of just left him.
I know, I felt so bad. Like, I already told him in advance that I was gonna be busy because I have rehearsals and these like different type of events and such. Right. And so like he already anticipated that. And again, like every time I needed something, like, oh, if I needed to drink water, Isaiah, can you get me water, please? He's like, yes, right away.
Keeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like, I remember this one time I forgot my sash in the hotel room, and also
not the sashes
again.
And like, he was just there, ready to provide me with what I need. Even though I know there were a lot of things that didn't make a lot of sense to him, but you know, it didn't seem like that. He's always been there, and I will forever be grateful for that.
Good job, Isaiah.
You had the full cheering squad. Like, he must have been in that, because I was in the audience, and obviously, also I have to send you a video of your crowning, because I'm screaming bloody murder, and I like absolutely lose my mind, and it's so funny. I have to send it to you, but I can see like a couple, like I think 4 or 5 rows ahead is like, it must be your family.
And all of Winnipeg. All of Winnipeg.
All Winnipeg was together. Okay, that makes sense, because it was like more than just your family. I was like, this is a whole mob of people. And they all stand up and they're like, yeah. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is so. And then it's just me in the back, like, I was like, I like her, I love her too. She, and it was just so fun. You could tell, like, honestly, there was a lot of Winnipeg representation there that night.
I was gonna say, you had your little minions of the junior Winnipeg girls.
It was such good energy.
So cute.
Yeah, it was so exciting when you went. Oh, also speaking of, this is a great time to bring this up actually. Alexis, who we all know and love, former Miss Teen Galaxy Canada, asked how was winning Teen Canada compared to Junior Miss Canada, which I guess that makes sense to ask now.
Good question. So when I first won Junior Miss Galaxy Canada in 2019, I was just so in shock. And I'm pretty sure you guys all witnessed that. And if you didn't go back to the live, I just started crying and bawling my eyes out. Because I really didn't expect that. It was my first time joining like such a big pageant system. Because it was way bigger than the first pageant that I've done since it was local. And like compared to the other delegates, I wasn't as prepared. Because the other delegates, they had modeling backgrounds. They were already experienced in these sorts of things. And I was the only one coming all the way from Winnipeg, because they were mostly in Toronto. So I was all the way from Winnipeg. And the most training that I've done is watch YouTube videos about former title holders. And like, you know, again, my idols. And just like unending calls with my uncle who is in the Philippines and unending like practices with my mom. And so when I won, I was just so in shock and I really couldn't stop crying. And something that I will never forget, one of the delegates from Junior Miss, I think she was Scarborough, like when I was after I was like finished crowning, they were going on with the other divisions. She was like wiping my tears, and it was just such a special moment. It felt so surreal at that moment, because really I didn't think I deserved it. I didn't feel good enough to be there, and yet I still won. And so, like compared to now, yes, I had that. I am a returning queen. I have that former title, but that was the last thing that was on my mind. I wanted to be fair with the other delegates, and I didn't want to make it seem like I had an advantage compared to them because I'm a returning queen, because I already won before. And so for me, like winning again, I was very shocked because during like while we were waiting for the MCs, for Regine and Ursula to announce the first runner-up, I was kind of like zoning out again. And I was telling Rose, who is first runner-up, I was just telling her about like how proud I am of her and like how I just truly admire her as a person, and like how she's so beautiful, because oh my gosh, Michaela too. Like,
they're all three.
They're all stunning. And so yeah, during that time, I was kind of just like holding her hand, and I was like doing the thumb thing. Yeah, I was doing the thumb.
All I see is
classic.
And like even if you watch live, like you can see me just talking and just like spewing out a bunch of
words of affirmation.
It's just word vomit.
And I was like so ready for them to call me as a first runner-up. Because I know Rose did such a fantastic job. But yeah, like I was also just so in shock when I was announced as the winner again. But also like I couldn't really prevent it, but there were those thoughts kind of like screaming in my head like, oh, what if people think that I won because I won before? And that was the last thing that I wanted people to think or to assume, because it was a fair competition. I did my very best, and the other delegates did too. And I'm so very proud of them for accomplishing the things that they have accomplished. And so like, yeah, like at that moment, it was just a mix of emotions. Like, oh my gosh, I'm winning again. But this time like for a different division. But then again, I was worried that people are going to assume that it was biased.
I can say I saw the results. It was not a Pia Wurtzbach moment. It was none of that. It was Katrina as the winner. Okay?
Capitals.
Winner.
I love it.
But yeah, like I was just shocked because I know the other delegates did their very best and they were incredible at everything that they've done. And so I expected myself to be called as first runner up, but you know, I didn't. And like again, going back to that time where we were waiting for the results to come up, I was just like kind of praising Rose because she is such an amazing being. And when we were announced, like I immediately pulled her in for a hug. And it was just like such a vulnerable moment between us three.
You all three hugged.
Yeah, because we had that bond. We developed that bond because there were only like three of us, and so we were all fairly close. And so like it felt so incredible having them be there for me, because even though we were competing for the same title, there was still that sisterhood that I absolutely loved. And yeah, like I know Michaela started crying when I got announced as the Miss Teen Galaxy Canada 2024, because like when Rose was getting her photos for like first runner up, I looked at her and like she pulled me in for a hug and she was like crying, and I was like, oh my gosh, stop. And then when I saw Alexis coming up to me with the crown and sash, it made it even worse because she was also like just sobbing, and I was like, oh my god, girl, don't do that.
I couldn't look at Alexis because when I saw that you won and she was next to me, I was like, don't look at me, don't look at the results.
True.
And so like one huge like difference from before to now is that I actually did my first walk like fairly well, because I did a first one. Like I was just a sobbing mess, and I kind of just like walked to the other side, walked back, and pose. But I learned from, you know, the years before, and I made sure to take my time as my first walk because that is such an exhilarating moment, and I didn't want my first walk to be such a mess because I'm crying so much. So I kind of had that in mind, like, don't walk too fast, make sure to pose.
Your mom was in your head.
Yep. And so yeah, when I did my first walk, I did my pose. Like all the girls, we just hugged each other right in the middle of the stage. And we were all just like crying. And also before we got on, Rose was like, I'm gonna cry no matter what the results are. And we did all end up crying because of that. Yep. And so yeah, it was just a very vulnerable moment for me, and I bet like for the other teen delegates as well. And truly, I will forever take that with me.
Love that. When you were talking about how Alexis was walking up to you and she was in tears and like about to crown you, that literally brought me back to when you and Alexis are walking to me,
right?
to crown me, and I was like, whoa. Whoa, that was that memory just like popped in my head.
I just love that you and Alexis are now the teen winners. I love that I was such an inspirational teen to my juniors. They all just wanted to be
after your footsteps.
Teens.
They just
boppers.
I'm just so glad. Honestly, the 2019 team has taken over that division. Yeah. Now, teens in the future, there's none of us left to do the teens, so it's freshly available. We've taken all the titles, so. But yeah, it was such a fun moment. Yeah.
I mean, Brittany, congratulations, just got engaged, so she can do misses one day.
Yeah. It's such a shame that I didn't see her for nationals because I was so excited to reunite with the former queens. I saw Caitlin and like I hugged her right away. And when I saw Liz, I hugged her right away.
I was looking questionable. I was in my hair and makeup outfit, and you turned around and you're like, Liz? And I'm like, yes, it's me.
And so I just ran up to her because I really did miss the 2019 queens because it's been a while since I last saw you.
We never had to see you. That's like Casey's like our one little baby that's just always too far.
Yeah, I know, because all of the queens were like in Toronto, and I'm like all the way in the middle of the country.
Right.
Well, this year's queens, you're all dispersed across the country.
That's gonna be interesting.
And also Little Miss, she's one of my close family friends. And so we're always together for appearances. And also the other like delegates of Team Winnipeg, we still go on appearances together. And it doesn't.
So cute.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that when I competed this year, I wasn't alone, because when I did before, I was the only one from Team Winnipeg. But now I brought a whole posse. We were just like a whole group, and I was like the mom, and my boyfriend was telling me they're all little clones of you. And I'm like,
They
"Oh."
do.
They're your minions. They're literally
love
just
it.
there for you. I love it. But Casey, we do. Sorry, Katrina. Sorry, we call her Casey. Okay,
Out of her head.
Katrina. We have to wrap things up. Sad to say, but we will definitely have you back on here before you go off to internationals. We want to see how your reign has been, what's new with you. You know, Liz and I are here for you. We're just a text message away if you need anything. If you need convincing to get your mom to do Mrs. Galaxy Canada, I mean, I will reach out to her as well. But before we go, do you have any last words for our viewers watching?
Well, first of all, thank you for sticking around and just watching me blabber about my whole experience, my whole pageant experiences. Thank you so much for staying here. If you've watched the whole thing, I truly appreciate you guys. But I ask for as I'm going to the international stage next August, I'm asking for your support and for your prayers and wishes. Please include me in your wishes and prayers, as I will be competing internationally and representing Canada as a whole. It's a very big responsibility. And also, just putting this out there, sponsors. Sponsors, if you're out there and if you're listening, I'm here. I'm always very appreciative of all the support and all the love that I get. Actually, when I won, I was so overwhelmed with text messages from my family friends here in Winnipeg watching the live stream. They were all just messaging me, "Congratulations, oh my gosh." And I was just tearing up, because I cannot stress this enough, but I'm so fortunate to have the people supporting me. And also when I got back, when I went back to school, my friends were like, "Oh my gosh, let me see your pageant log. You won." And so it's just so incredible and so uplifting just to have them surround me, and I'm so very fortunate for that.
Amazing. So Casey, Katrina, if any sponsors are out there, or anyone out there wants to, continue following your journey to the crown, to the new crown, where can people find you online?
And so, yeah, I am available on Instagram mostly. My dad is the one managing the Facebook profile, but you can text me via Instagram at Miss Teen Galaxy Canada. I'm always a text message away, and I always have my phone with me. I'm very active in social media and stuff, so if you message me, I will get that notification right away, and I will do my very best to get back at you. Or even if you just want to have a little chat, learn more about me, and kind of have a heart-to-heart. I love having conversations with people. I'm a very talkative person, if you couldn't already tell. But yeah, I love having conversations with other people. So if you just want to reach out to me, kind of ask me how I'm doing, and just have a conversation, I'm always available. Don't be shy to send me a message. Again, that is Miss Teen Galaxy Canada on Instagram, and also on Facebook too.
Perfect. Elizabeth, where can people find you online?
Oh, where can they find me online? I have my pageant Instagram back to Elizabeth Marnock Pageantry. So take a peek at that. That's kind of where I house everything pageant related in my life. If you're looking for a brand new pageant system to join, I know we talked a lot about Galaxy today. Canada Galaxy is absolutely fabulous, but I also run Canadian National Miss pageant. If you're interested in something like that, check us out on Instagram and at CanadianNationalMiss.com. If you're looking for hair and makeup, I was at Galaxy doing hair and makeup for the whole weekend. Visit me at Elizabeth Marnock Artistry, and I think we'll leave it at that. Regine, how about you?
Thanks, Liz. You all can find me here on this YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. You can also follow the Pageant Sit Down on social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook at Pageant Sit Down. If you'd like to follow me personally, not on the streets, only on social media, you can follow me at It's Regina Lena on Instagram and TikTok. As I mentioned earlier, I also do pageant coaching. So if you're interested in pageant coaching, Casey or anyone else, you can reach out to me at pageantcoaching.reginalena.
She's the best. I recommend.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. So that is where you can find me too. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Casey, Katrina, whatever we want to call you. Thank you so much for joining us. I admire you so much. I mean, I know you love to admire all of the beauty queens out there, the Katrinas, the Pia Wurtzbachs of the world, but I'm sure not just the little Winnipeg girlies, but all of us are very inspired by you. And we cannot wait to see how your reign goes, how this year goes, how you do at internationals. You're going to kill it. I'm so excited.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so incredibly excited and happy to be here. And I just love having conversations with you guys.
So this better not be the last one. Like I said, we want to get you back right before you go. But if you just want to chat outside of the internet for them to watch us, you are more than welcome to call anytime. To everyone watching, thank you again for joining us. Isaiah, keep it up. Be a great pageant boyfriend. Mom and Dad, thank you for watching. I know we have Alexis and we have Michaela. I'm sure we'll have more people watching, not live, so thank you for watching. And shout out to Shorts Growing Channel, SGC. They say hello. So hi.
Hi.
And now we say goodbye. Casey, again, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.